department that you'll see the presentation on this evening is something that Plymouth has been considering, talking about, and studying for years, most particularly over the last couple of years, the Consolidation Committee. So I am pleased this evening that the Board of Selectmen supported the recommendation I made for reorganization. We have officially consolidated the Harbor Masters Department and the Environmental Affairs Department, creating a new Department of Marine and
When I started working for the town 11 years ago, my title was Natural Resources Officer. So people inevitably thought that that's where I worked. That was actually not the case. I actually worked within the Parks Division, which was part of
David
DPW.
Gould will be the new director, changing the structure slightly of town management because that will be another director that will be a direct report to the town manager. The Harbor Masters Department used to report to the assistant town manager, and now by combining those, there will be a standalone.
In 2004, Environmental Management became a division within DPW under former DPW Director George Crombie. And then this proposal, what we're referring to as the DNR, or Marine Environmental Affairs proposal, was first submitted back in 2007.
Financially, I think one of the things that Selectman Tavares said this evening that I think that we can all take home as a message is sometimes if you don't set funds aside or you don't invest in something that you're currently doing, you'll pay more for it in the long run. And that's what I found here to be a motivation financially to consolidate the Harbor Masters Department and the Environmental Affairs Division, is that for a very small amount of money, David Gould will be elevated, raised that will be about $10,000 annually to a department head. The other positions will remain the same, and I have not been able to add any staff to this department initially. That's something we will look to do in the future as the department develops. So for a very small amount of money, or certainly not a substantial amount, we are now going to be able to really concentrate on much of that open space that Plymouth has spent millions and millions on over the years, as well as some of the additional regulations that are coming down.
Obviously, I'm very proud of this division, the three folks that I have, myself, Kim Tower, and Karen McCall. We have a really amazing, well-qualified group of people. We've been fortunate enough to receive 3 national awards, as well as regional awards.
Reorganizations in Plymouth, or in any community, is something that need to be looked at very seriously. And I was impressed with the process that we followed in order to consolidate these 2 divisions. This is something that has been considered since 2003 or 2004. But most recently, over the last 2 years, the Board of Selectmen created a consolidation committee that specifically looked at maybe overlaps in the organization, overlaps in functions. And the consolidation committee looked at the Harbor Masters Department, the Environmental Management Division, any other area that might have some kind of overlap or enforcement services that could relate to what the Harbor Master and Environmental Affairs is currently doing. In this particular instance, the Consolidation Committee unanimously supported the consolidation of both these divisions, and I don't think that was originally what they thought.
Plymouth is actually considered leaders in river and wetland restoration throughout the country. And one of the things we've done for not just those projects, but for all the projects we've worked on, and I think most folks are familiar, but since 2004, when we were created as a division, we've brought in over $8 million in grants for those.
So Chairman Muratori, who served on that committee, was saying this evening it was interesting to see that when you follow a very thorough process, ask the tough questions, interview all those that could be involved, check some of the issues at the door, and just look at what the services are. In this particular case, they came full circle and came back to this consolidation.
I just think that there's any community in the Commonwealth that needs something like this. It's Plymouth, Massachusetts. Things are getting ever more complicated. We've been very successful in the last 10 or 12 years with the Community Preservation Act. We're bringing forward 352 acres at town meeting, which I think might be the most significant land purchase of any community in the history of the Community Preservation Act. I certainly hope the town meeting supports it. I wish something like this had been done a long time ago, but I certainly fully support it tonight.
Consolidation of the Harbor Masters Department and Environmental Management seem to be getting a lot of support and encouragement from the community, and I'd like to name a couple groups specifically to recognize. The Tidal Beaches Advisory Committee supported this. I have mentioned that the Consolidation Committee unanimously supported it, and the Network of Open Space Friends, a group that is continually growing and impressing me both with their time commitment and the initiatives they want to look at, has supported the concept of this combined department. Certainly they, in their very vision and mission of what they do, recognize the importance in natural resources and how we can protect our environment throughout Plymouth, not just in terms of our land, but also our aquaculture, lakes, our ponds, and our waterfront. So they've been supportive of this concept, and we intend to reach out to many of them and help use them as a volunteer function while we build this department.